Beloved viewers, my name is Fred. I'm Esther's friend, and I'm a bachelor. And today the topic that
I'll just scale your
and I'm a bachelor, and the topic that we are going to be discussing. Unaona dem, unamkatia, and you know the way that I keep repeating this, that men, we are held to a little bit lower standards. So nobody, like, hakuna mwenye ana mind if Fred as a bachelor is living alone, he keeps exchanging women. The thing is, watasema how madem, kwani how madem aonangi wakiplayiwa, so vitu kama hizo media, when you get to read what people are posting, it we are living in a sex obsessed world. And so you asked as a bachelor how you can navigate all this. The standards of God are universal. It doesn't say that young women, keep yourself pure, but the young men, you can just roam free. When God is saying that, this is
thing that both the young and old struggle to achieve. And today's discussion, we're going to look at how easy it is or how hard it is at this age, in this generation, to be able to maintain purity. And God also wants His people to be pure, and He doesn't want any filthiness or uncleanness to be mentioned amongst them. And that's why He tells us in the book of Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 3 to 5 that if you want to inherit His kingdom, if you want to be among His people, we have to be pure. Filthiness, uncleanness, or any kind of impurity shouldn't be mentioned amongst His people. And in today's discussion, we're going to see how easy is it or how hard it is for one to be pure in this generation, especially as a bachelor. How are you? It's your lady Madolla. Welcome back to Madolla Mellow Time. And if you're new here, karibu tena sana and feel part of Madolla Mellow community. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because you're really missing out. With me today is Fred Omondi. And he's going to join with us in today's topic and enlighten us on some issues in regards to purity. So before we start, I think it will be proper for you to introduce yourself to our beloved viewers so that at least they know.
Beloved viewers, my name is Fred. I'm Esther's friend, and I'm a bachelor. And today the topic that
I'll just scale your
and I'm a bachelor, and the topic that we are going to be discussing today has to do with bachelorhood and purity, both more purity and sexual purity. So welcome to the channel, and please subscribe again. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So as he has told you, today we're going to discuss bachelorhood and purity. And it does not apply to bachelors peke yake, it cuts across, because I think almost everyone struggles with purity. Hata ukuwe umeolewa, hata ukuwe widow, like there's that battle, struggling to be pure. And I don't know if there are standards of purity in the community. If there are standards, maybe you can tell of moral and sexual purity.
Okay, so first of all, the way that we have come to understand purity is that mostly when we speak about purity, and as Christians, it's in reference to Christian living, and mostly get our definition from the Bible. So, but I tend to to think that when purity is being mentioned, and the word purity itself, somebody's mind often clicks, the hearer's mind often clicks to sexual purity.
Yeah,
But you find that purity is not only sexual, and I always say, I like what Christ said, that when he's been asked, when he's discussing this issue of purity in relation to marriage, he's saying that now I tell you that he who looks at a woman lustfully has already sinned in the heart. And so you find that purity is a heart issue. It's not really physical. And also David is talking about God requiring uprightness in the innermost parts of ourselves. So I think that purity is the state of the heart, of being right with God, being actually purity itself is a standard of God, because even Paul, I believe, and Peter talk severally about
Thank you for making that clear. So tumepata, like, purity is a heart issue. As much as kuna standards out there, as much as you can set personal standards, it starts from within. It doesn't really see about what you do or how people see you act out there. It's about what is within you. Yeah. So from a personal experience, have you ever got? I mean, okay.
Just shoot the question directly.
I shoot you directly. As a bachelor, what are your struggles in regards to sexual and moral purity? Because kuna venye mtu anafaa kuishi as a Christian morally, and pia kuna the sexual boundaries in Christianity. So as a bachelor, how kuna hizo struggles?
So let me just begin and say that not necessarily as a bachelor, but as a man. When you start with purity, the definition of now moral purity is just the uprightness, being upright, and let me say being a person of integrity, being a person of integrity. And there's something that in the book of Job, just the opening chapter of Job is being described as a man who was upright and blameless before God. And so really you don't need to explain what being righteous or upright and blameless before God is, sexual purity, again, when you're defining it in terms of a man, when you're now applying it to a man, you find that it's kind of hazy, because for women, we know that when we are talking about sexual purity for women, then it's something visible that if you go and lie with a man, you'll get pregnant, that everybody will know that Esther Manoti is not married, but she's pregnant. So it means that you must have done something and you'll be judged. But for a man like me, sexual purity, I think even I should even be held to higher standards, the way I understand it, because when we say that it's a heart issue, it's a heart issue, it's something mental. And so you find that sexual purity, because sex is not physical, but it's mental, it starts with the mind. It starts with the mind. So you asked about the struggles.
Yeah, the struggles as a man.
The struggles as a man. And it's not only to bachelors, it's even to married men, because married men also struggle with sexual purity in the context of the marriage. And so the things that as a young man I can say that we struggle with, if it was a macho, whereby you're unmarried, and so you kind of think that you are held to a bit lower standards compared to a married man, because a married man, if you're married and you bado unafuatana na wasichana, people will raise eyebrows and say, this guy is married, but someone like me, we tend to get a pass, anatafuta, and so I think the struggles that we have is what can I say about that?
Like you don't have something that really binds you, how can I say it? Like Okay, so for the married men, like for them, they have the wife. So it's easier for them, like after the community in our state, kujichunga.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
for you don't have like something like that binds you, like like this is your space, this is where you're supposed to.
Yeah, so I think for a bachelor, it has to do with self-control. It has to do with self-control in that. What can I say? Like you don't have the control of the eyes, the control of the appetites. And so you find that sometimes you're overwhelmed. Unaona dem, unamkatia, and the way that I keep repeating this, that men were held to a little bit lower standards. So nobody, like, hakuna mwenye ana mind if Fred as a bachelor is living alone. He keeps exchanging women. The thing is, watasema hao madem, kwani hao madem haonangi wakiplaywa, so vitu kama hizo ya.
Okay, so we've seen, like, according God has his standards in regards to sexual purity. It starts from the heart, like you don't have to do the act. I'm for the lady, but then madem, like, you don't last.
Like, no, you're the lady, so maybe you can enlighten me how you last.
Like, imekuja tu kwa akili. Like, for us, the only way maybe someone can know ni ukishapata ball. What about the other times, And God has spoken about us in regards to lasting. I mean, it was general.
In the instances where the Bible is speaking clearly about lust, in regards to married and unmarried people, it's called fornication. And fornication is really spoken of. Paul is speaking to the Thessalonians in the First Thessalonians, I believe, chapter 4, from verse 7 around there, and he's saying that now this is the will of God, even your sanctification, that every one of us should know how to handle their vessel, now the body. And so when he's speaking in that manner, he's not speaking to the women, he's speaking to both. Yeah, so I think Paul had knowledge enough to know that both women, young women and men, are struggling with lust.
So we've seen that God's standards. We've also seen that the society has standards. Maybe according to the society, so long as I'm 18, I can have sex, or maybe I can cuddle with you. I can, what else? Kissing, like it's normal. Yeah, how do you get to balance? And or for example, maybe you also have your personal standards. So there's this what God has said. There's what the society has put out there, and also there are your personal standards. So as a bachelor, or as a youth, or as a married person, how do you get to balance these three?
I think when you compare the standards of the world, because as you're saying, that I remember a time when I was in primary school, when the standard for young women, young men, young people in general, was the 3 ABC. It was ABCD.
ABCD.
Yes. Maybe you got born a little bit later. But it was abstinence, and then it was being faithful. Now that was for the married people. And then there was contraceptives. At that point, it was mainly condom use, and I can't remember what the D was, but sijui kama zilikuwa zinafika D. Ilikuwa ABC. So you find that at that point, I think it was in the early 2000s, they were talking about abstinence. Today they don't talk about abstinence. They talk about contraceptive use even for primary school kids. So you find that over time, the standard of the world imekuwa ikienda down. Ikienda down such that right now everything passes. And even in social media, when you get to read what people are posting, it, we are living in a sex-obsessed world. And so you asked as a bachelor how you can navigate all this. The standards of God are universal. It doesn't say that young women, keep yourself pure, but the young men, you can just roam free. When God is saying that this is the will, this is my will, even your sanctification is speaking to bachelors. And so how do you navigate such a sex-obsessed world? And uphold God's standards. So
And
the only
don't speak your
thing,
morals.
yeah, the only thing is to say, as David says in Psalms chapter 19, is a favorite verse of many, that I've hidden your word in my heart, that I may not sin against you. You know, when you hear such a thing, some people take it lightly, that how can I hide God's word in my heart so that I may not sin against you? But it even starts with the definition of sin, because according to many people, according to you, fondling and kissing and it's sin. And that's where, for you, that's the starting point of fornication. But to someone else, it goes as far as removing clothes. That's where they start their definition of fornication. And so what can the man do? Because now we are talking about men. We are talking about bachelorhood, unmarried men, young boys. What can the man do? And I think there's no debate about it, that the only standard for sexuality, moral purity and sexual purity is God. God's word. Yeah.
Bachelors watching this, madingdemu koinje, youths, the married guys, I hope so far you've got something, but we'll be right after the break. Don't move your seats.